Mr. Jansen, thank you so much. Goeiemorgen.
Morning.
Firstly, what does the phased deregistration process for businesses entail?
Okay, maybe before I go into that, maybe for those people that are listening, what is beneficial ownership? Beneficial ownership is a new legal requirement that came into the law in 2023 that basically requires all businesses registered with BIPA, whether you're a closed corporation, whether you're a company, to comply with the beneficial ownership requirement. It means that we need to know who the true beneficial owners are, who benefits from this business, who has control or influence into this business. Now, this is a legal requirement that is being set on us by the Financial Action Task Force. It's an intergovernmental organization and known as the Global Anti-Money Laundering Watchdog, the FATF. The same FATF also grey-listed us in February last year, and there's an impeding blacklisting for Namibia, which may have a detrimental impact on our economy. Now, the phased deregistration process is now pending. Come 16 May, we are going to start with that. What does it mean? It basically means that all businesses that are non-compliant would then face possible deregistration. We have been doing this for the past 2 years. We've gone out in various campaigns. We've had engagements. We've had mass media outreaches and messaging to all registered businesses to ensure that their compliance remains on point. So come 16 May, those that are still non-compliant would then be deregistered, and there are obviously consequences and implications for those deregistration.
Now, hopefully this will not catch many companies by surprise, as some will say, but I don't have TV, I don't have television. What measures has BIPA undertaken to ensure the companies are aware of the imminent deregistration?
As I mentioned earlier, BIPA announced the implementation of beneficial ownership in July 2023. We started officially in August 2024. As we started implementing this, we started having outreach. We went out to the regions. I mean, we've been on just every show on NBC over the last 2 years, on the various radio stations, indigenous radio stations, private radio stations, in the print media. We've gone as far as reaching out to the entities themselves through SMS and email. So we've really tried our best to make the public, especially business owners, aware of their obligation, because it's a new legal obligation. It was very important for us to make sure that we do everything possible before the consequences sets in. Will it catch some by surprise? Of course it may be. There may be those that say they didn't know about it, but now after this interview, of course, they can't say they didn't know about it. And we'll talk about the consequences now, because a lot of people are not necessarily business owners in the sense, but they may have, for instance, property that owns business. Maybe their apartment is registered in a CC. Maybe their farm is registered in a PTY. How does it affect them? How does it affect
ongoing tender or something?
Ongoing tender. How does it even affect the ordinary Namibian that has no business interest? It may also affect them. So yes, may catch some people by surprise. We hope not. But we also hope that the deregistration will also clean our data, especially for those entities that are and remain inactive.
What are some of the things, perhaps while you're still at it, that some of the companies can't comply with what you guys have put in place?
Just repeat that.
Like, what are some of the challenges that companies or owners of this business
why they
challenge?
are not compliant?
Yeah, what could be some of the challenges that they face?
I mean, there are various reasons why entities say they couldn't have complied to date. Some simply say that they didn't know about it on time. Some would say that they've been out of the country, or those that are actually beneficial owners are either not willing to come and declare or disclose their beneficial ownership status. There are some shareholders and members that may be out of the country, but even though that may be the case, it shouldn't keep them from complying on time. I mean, we do accept if a member is out of the country or shareholder is out of the country, you can literally send the form to them, they can fill it in, they can sign it. They send it to us with, if they are Namibian, with a certified copy of their ID or a notarized passport, and they can even do it by email, and we accept that if they supply that to us. But these are just some of the challenges that business owners have lamented to us as the authority.
Take us through the deregistration process. What happens during the process and what happens after the process?
So What is important to note is that a company or close corporation, basically a business, the day it is incorporated or registered, it takes on a legal status. So in terms of the legal requirements, in terms of the law, it gains capacity, which means it becomes a legal person. You and I, we are natural persons. A company or close corporation is now a legal or juristic person. So when it is deregistered, it loses its legal status. It's like it was born and now it dies. The deregistration process would obviously look at all those that are non-compliant. We are saying that we are doing it in a phased approach because we have hundreds of thousands of businesses that are due for deregistration. So they will be flagged on our system. Business owners will get communication that your business have now been flagged for deregistration. We will go through the process of making sure that we note all the compliance issues that remain outstanding, and then we will start the deregistration process. Because this is a beneficial ownership, there is no legal requirement to gazette these deregistrations. Because as we know that the government gazette can only take a maximum of, I think, slightly over 200 entries per gazetting. So it would take us years to gazette all these businesses because they are in the hundreds of thousands.
I think someone is relieved to hear that.
Yeah, but we will publish the list on our website as soon as it is deregistered.
Now, perhaps someone is saying, but it's fine, you can deregister my business, I'll register it again. Yeah. Is there anything in place to make sure that people avoid the necessary procedures rather than just saying, I'll wait for them to deregister and then I'll register my company again?
So there are two things to remember here. Firstly, I think those that are inactive would probably not have an issue with their business being deregistered. But those that are active in the economy, that have bank accounts, that have
bought houses,
procurement tenders, that have property listed for those, they need to be worried. Because I just came from another interview at another radio station, and I noted that we also have a lot of inactive businesses. So once we clean those ones out, we'll still be left with those that are active. So those ones really need to be concerned. But there are obviously consequences. As I said, if you have bought a property in your if the CC owns the property, and this CC now gets deregistered, it loses its legal status. What happens to the property? The property becomes now without ownership. So in terms of property law, there's a term called bona vacantia. So you've vacated ownership over this property, and this property could now vest in the state. In order for you to gain back the rights of this property, you either need to restore this business or you need to follow a legal process to gain your property back. This goes for farms, and we have tens of farms registered in PTYs. Imagine the number of flats and apartments in Windhoek alone. A lot of them are registered in close corporations. And mind you, a lot of people are not aware. And that is why I'm not only speaking to those with businesses, with properties in CCs, but even if you have family members that owns a flat, owns an apartment, owns a farm, ask them, go to them, post in the WhatsApp group. Guys, do you know what BIPA is busy with? They are deregistering non-compliant entities. You guys own property. Are you compliant? If not, please, I don't want you to lose your farm. See something, say something. Hear something, say something. That is what we are imploring. Other consequences or implications could also be, for instance, the restriction on bank accounts. So the minute that an entity loses its legal status, it doesn't exist anymore. So imagine you have a few millions in the bank. I mean, nice money to have. You can't access it. You have to pay your employees. You have to you have obligations such as suppliers, creditors that you need to pay. Maybe you might even be receiving funds into your account. You won't be able to access it because the banks or financial institutions would be under an obligation to have certain restrictions on your bank account. Another possible implication could be, let's say, and this is where I said, even the ordinary Namibian that doesn't own a business, they don't own property, how are they affected? They are affected because let's say there is a business that has a government tender, and I'm making an example here, from the Ministry of Health. let's say this business has to supply oxygen to all public hospitals, and public hospitals are running out of oxygen, and now this business gets deregistered, they've not yet supplied that oxygen. Would that public entity be obliged to continue with this tender? That is a question, because this business would not be able to fulfill their obligations, so they could be in breach of the contract. Public hospitals would not be able to get this oxygen. Let's talk about life-saving medication for that matter. So the ordinary Namibian is impacted. Let's talk about a multi-million-dollar road contract along the north or the south, or even the airport road. If they are non-compliant and they are deregistered, these are some of the implications that affect you and I that are not necessarily business owners. That is why we implore to everyone that hears this message to put it on their WhatsApp statuses, Facebook, Instagram, in their family groups, friendship groups, and make sure that businesses comply, because at the end of the day, everyone is impacted.
Mr. Jansen, any final remarks?
We are imploring on business owners to go to our website, that is www.bipa.na. There is a tab called Compliance. Go to it, Beneficial Ownership, download the BO1 form, bring it to us, fill it in, bring it to us with certified copies of IDs or notarized passports, and become compliant. For more information, they can follow us on our social media pages, or they can also just, if let's say you just joined this interview shortly, before we end, you can also call our call center at 061 299 4433, 061 299 4433 for more information.